Heart. Real people having real conversations about things that matter most to you. I'm Sherry Elise.
I'm Cyrus Webb.
I'm Rich Osagara.
I'm Patrice Tanaka.
And we are Heart to Heart.
Hello.
Oh, yeah.
Welcome, everybody. Hey. Welcome to Heart, an interactive talk show where you get to choose the topic. We are so excited to have you here. If you're watching live with us today or even watching the replay, say hello, let us know where you are watching from. And as always, please share the love by sharing this live stream right now with those that you love. So this week, we got an interesting choice of questions that came in, and halfway through the show, we are going to reveal in the vault which one is the winner. So the first question that came in from Steven, who asked, what do you do when your true love doesn't trust you? Lisa sent in, why is change the hardest and scariest thing to do? And last, Beth sent in, how do you know when it's time to move on from a relationship? Thank you all so much for sending in those questions. And if there is something that is sitting on your heart that you want us to discuss, our producer Tracy is going to drop the link in the comments so that you can submit your question right to us. So without further ado, let me bring on the rest of the co-hosts of Heart to Heart. Hello, y'all. Welcome.
Hello.
And as you guys may notice, Rich is not with us this week. He is off vacationing in Sedona, Arizona. So if you see him out there, do not trip him out on the trails. And we've got our amazing producer, Tracy, in front of the camera today. Thanks for being with us, Tracy.
Hello.
And before we get started, I want to invite you to grab your favorite cup of anything and just enjoy yourselves and have a good time with us.
Yes.
So, Patrice, what's happening?
There's Rich.
Oh, look, there's Rich.
Hey,
Hi, Rich.
Good to see you. See, Rich is, at least we know he's safe right now and nobody's out tripping him on the trails because he's washing with us.
Yes,
there you go.
He just couldn't keep away from us. Anyway, and I'm glad he's here because I have a question that I'd love him to answer in the comments as well. So my question, and I love asking this of everyone that I get together with, what is the thing that you most treasure and adore about everyone else in this group? So I want everyone to say what it is that you treasure and adore about each of the other three co-hosts this week.
Yeah.
So who wants to go first?
I want to go first on this one because it ties into what I was saying to you guys before we went on the show today. I have, over the past 6 months, really enjoyed being able to get to know everyone better. Sherry and I have known each other for a long time, a decade. I've known you, Patrice, just as long. Just really getting to know Rich through Heart to Heart. And Tracy is so interesting. She and I had engagements before, but not as much as now with the show. But what I love about each one of you is really the same thing. I love the fact that you're open to anything. And that you are so willing to be able to share and to give. And I think those are great qualities that you couldn't ask for anything more in a friend and also in co-host.
Great. Well, thank you. Thanks for sharing, Cyrus. Tracy, what do you think?
Wow. Okay. So each and every one of you I love. I just adore. There's something special about everyone. And then I also love the feedback that I get. So like for Patrice, I have one of my friends, she said, I just love Patrice. I think you have a certain warmth and an eldership, if that's a word, as you're on here with the host. And Cyrus, like you said, you and I have been connected for years and pick up every now and then and connect, and it's always been great. And I love watching you just expand, everything that you're doing. So it's so exciting. And Sherry, I'm gonna come back to you, Sherry. First, I'm gonna go to Rich because since Rich ain't here, I'm still gonna bring up Rich. So I just got a chance to meet Rich, and I just love his energy. Him and Cody, just amazing. And so I'm so grateful to meet all of you. But Sherry, I just love you to death. My friend Emily is the one that told me about you. And she said, the two of you need to meet. You guys need to meet. And this was before I even met you in Sedona. She said, I just feel like you guys need to be connected. And so you've been this soul sister, just a beautiful blessing. And so I'm just grateful for you and grateful that you've allowed me to connect with everyone here.
Oh. Oh my goodness. Thank you. And thanks, Patrice, for asking this question. And before I go into my answers, I'm curious for those who are watching, because they're sitting here, if they're just tuning in, or watching a love fest of us. And I want them to be involved. I want them to be involved in this love fest. So I want to ask you, either you can share with us what you love about us. No, I'm just kidding. I would love to know, what are the, whether there's someone really important in your life, maybe you can tag them in the comments and let them know how you feel about them, what's important about them, what do you appreciate or admire or respect in them. Just basically spread the love. That's what I think would be a great thing for you guys to do, and how to get involved with that. And now for you guys. So I'm going to do all of this without getting emotional, but no guarantees here. So Rich, who is out there in Sedona watching, Rich and I always, it seems like him and I go through the exact same things at the same time. Like, my brother from another mother, Rich's heart, I appreciate his heart, wears it right on the sleeve, and always just looking to grow and to share what he learns. And I love that so much, because anytime that we can make someone else's journey here a little bit easier, I respect that so much. Patrice is my fellow sister in joy, and I love and I admire so much that not only is it part of you, but that you really do make it your mission to spread it every single day, and it's palpable. And so I think that's such a beautiful gift to give the world. I love having here week after week. I'm like Cyrus and Tracy. So Tracy, the same thing that she said, without, I'm trying not to talk too much here, but Tracy carries with, you carry with you just a spirit and a heart that's just love. And you're such a fighter in so many ways. And no matter what happens week to week, you always are positive. You always stay upbeat. You always believe in us. And you always just keep me and all of us motivated to be our best. And I love that. I love that about you. And then last, Cyrus. Cyrus and I, of course, a decade. What I love about Cyrus is that you're going to get the truth from Cyrus, like every time. And there's nothing more that I appreciate in someone than knowing where you stand with them, and knowing that, like, I know I'm loved. I know that I'm loved by him. So, and that's a beautiful gift to give somebody. So that's what I have to say.
Patrice, before you give yours, I definitely want to share what Rich says. And Rich, thank you for chiming in on vacation. And Rich, hopefully you're checking your email too while you're on vacation. But Rich says, I appreciate that you each share so openly and honestly. And even though we have such varied backgrounds and worldviews, we are proving that honest dialogue is possible. And Rich, I totally agree with that. In fact, Sherry, when you first told me about Rich, my whole thing has always been, I love to learn. And I think that's how I grow. And I love the fact that I feel like every time we finish a show, I feel like I got a new wrinkle on my brain. It's really cool.
I love that. I love that. So Patrice,
I love what all of you shared. And see, this is a great question. And for our audience, it's a great question if you're getting together with any group of people that you know and people that you don't know, because, rarely do we have an opportunity to actually verbally express, our love and admiration for others in our lives. You don't want to wait till eulogy time. So, express it now. But let me start with Cyrus, who I knew first. And what I love about Cyrus is he always keeps us laughing, because we cannot believe some of the things that come out of his mouth, because he's not like the rest of us. I mean, and he naturally shares, things like, just before this show, when people doesn't everyone check their email on vacation? I didn't know that you weren't supposed to, you know. So he's unafraid to express whatever comes to his mind. And what I love most about Cyrus is, even though if you look at him, he seems very placid, very calm, nothing's really happening. He inside, he's bubbling over with mirth, and he has the most beautiful laugh that I think should be canned so that you can listen to it whenever you need a pick-me-up, because he's got the best laugh of all. Anyway, so I love this man. And I love that he introduced me to Sherry. I had no idea that I had a Joy sister on the opposite coast. So it's been quite a beautiful thing to get to know her and to see where she came from and has emerged into someone who is just, living her joy and showing the rest of us how to do that as well. I love people who can take, very difficult experiences and turn them into beautiful, joyful blessings for all of us. And Tracy, this is the first time that I met Tracy on this show. And even though I am very tech challenged and I always seem to be the one that is causing the problems technology-wise, well, I actually vie with Cyrus for that title. But if it's me, Tracy will always, she's grace under pressure. She will get to the bottom of things and make sure we're all doing what we need to do to deliver the best presentation we can for our audience. And I love people who are like that. Very calm, grace under pressure, nothing rattles her, and she's just going to get what she needs done. So anyway, and Rich, oh, you're not here that we can actually pick on you in person. But what I really love and admire about Rich is he's constantly challenging himself to do more and to, come up with new offerings that could be helpful to the rest of us. And I feel like a slacker when I look at what Rich is doing, and Cyrus and Sherry and Tracy actually had come here to really be motivated by all these people. But I love each and every one of you, and thank you so much, Sherry, for creating this experience for us to be together and to share that with others.
I want to mention what Rory says. Rory, thank you so much for this. Rory says, I have to say, it is not rarely do we have the opportunity to share love expression. We always have the opportunity. Do we take it? And I love that because, Rory, I agree. A lot of times when someone dies or something happens, that's normally when you hear the outpouring of how you feel about that person and what they did for you and how they contributed to your life. It's so good to be able to take this opportunity, like everyone mentions, to let people know. So I hope you guys are tagging individuals and letting them know how you feel about them and what you appreciate about them, because it may mean more to them than you think.
Absolutely. And I so appreciate you, Patrice, for asking this question, because I think all of us are now lifted. And so just as Cyrus said and Rory said, take the time, I'm just repeating, but saying it in a different way, take the time to let somebody know how you feel about them. Because the way that we're all feeling right now is the way that everybody should feel all the time by the people in their lives. I remember, you guys, I used to do this back way in the day when I had my Blog Talk Radio, probably over a decade ago. I used to do this Pay It Forward Friday, and I would always challenge people to do different things. But one of the things was always to either call somebody or email or message them, and just to reach out and let them know something about them that you appreciate. And it was this beautiful thing that would happen, and I would hear back responses about, and they kept it going for a while. So such a great thing to do. So you guys, it's now time for the part of the show where our audience really gets to participate. And that is because you guys sent in your questions, which you want us to have a heart-to-heart on. Not that we didn't have enough heart pouring out right now, but this is about topics that are important to you. So Tracy has drawn a question. And so in our vault that she's about to open will reveal which one won this week and which one we're going to be talking about. So Tracy, open the vault, please. Why is change the hardest and scariest thing to do? By Liza. Lisa, what a question. Whew, this is a big one, you guys. I'm actually happy this one came in. We've had it on a previous one, and I was hoping for it, but I'm going to wait. Who wants to dive into this one first? And audience, by the way, please let us know your thoughts on this and on why change is the hardest and scariest thing to do.
Yeah. You know, I think we get so comfortable. And, you know, I think, you know, I, again, showing my quirkiness, aka weirdness, you know, I have always been a person that realized I can be happy where I am, but I'm never content with where I am. And I think that's really a difference. I think a lot of times we do stand in our own way. So I think when we do try to do something new, I mean, there's always a possibility, yes, it may not work. But then there's the other side that I always think about, what if it does? So I think that the fear is what kind of stops so many people. And so they just stay where they are. They stay in a job. And look, if you love what you do in a job, hey, stay with it. But if you're not feeling the best of yourself where you are, I have always said, you know, then what can you do every day to be able to move in a different direction? And I think you'll find that you not only will love life better, you end up loving yourself better in the process.
I want to jump, excuse me, I want to jump in on it and first acknowledge Catherine. She said, the unknown, we fear what we don't know. So change is scary and difficult. And the reason the graphic, it had the person in the maze is that, you know, you're always wondering, okay, well, like Cyrus said, you know, well, what will happen if I do? But then what will happen if I don't? And so like years ago, I had friends that would tell me, Tracy, you're so brave for deciding to be an entrepreneur. And at first I was like, I don't understand what's so brave about it. But over the years, I've learned that change from, you know, that 9-to-5 mentality to the entrepreneur, it is a hard thing to do. But then it's also scary not to do it for me. Like, I'm just not meant to live that life. I don't feel like I'm meant to live in somebody's cubicle and being told when I can go to the bathroom and take lunch. And so it was a difficult move, scary move, but it's also, like I said, too scary for me to go back. And so just in life, you have to move forward. You have to go ahead and make the changes and just be comfortable, confident, and take that step and believe that it's going to work out and see what happens. And sometimes we step forward and it's like, no, this was a bad idea. But then you keep going forward and you're like, wait, this does work out. So that's my take on it.
Yeah. And again, to pick up on what Cyrus and Tracy both said about going beyond your comfort zone and pushing beyond what is safe and known. I think if we practice being fearless every single day, you know, in small ways and big ways, it's like exercising a muscle, right? The more you exercise it, the stronger it gets. And being fearless becomes just the way that you approach and get through life. So, and I work with a lot of people on their personal life purpose statements. And what I found is that I would say 30% of the people that I'm helping to finalize their life purpose statement, they are held back by their own fear of trying something different, doing something that they've never done before. And so a lot of times my life purpose statement speaks to them having a purpose, which I tell them to memorize and recite to themselves and share with others and do something to actively live their purpose every day. And a lot of times it includes the phrase, fearlessly doing something, living fearlessly, you know, it's an element of that. And it's something that people can, you know, practice every single day. And so become very acclimated and very comfortable with change, which is important, because if we're not changing and growing, we're actually dying, right? So we need to, in order to flourish and thrive, we need to keep growing, and we need to embrace change and, be different tomorrow than we were today or the day before.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Ooh, change is a big one. And I think we can all agree, and everyone that's watching here, that change is scary, right? Change is hard. I mean, that's the question, why is it so hard? And I think we've all come to the agreement that change is necessary. We have to grow. But I think it's something that's biological. Like, I think we all, just on an evolutionary standpoint, we want to, our minds, our brains want to keep us safe. You'll always hear me talking about that, because that's a lot of the work that I do with like self-love and really helping people to, create a safe and loving inner world. And so when we think about change, we think, oh my God, I'm stepping out of what I already know. And anytime we step away from what we know, like, we go to the negative aspects, as we mentioned, of all the things that could possibly go wrong and what could happen. And so then we don't even try. And then we're upset every single day, or feeling, discontent with our lives because we haven't stretched ourselves. And I think one of the challenges that when it comes to change is that some people try to make big changes instead of, as Patrice mentioned, the small ones that we can do every day. And so when we put in our minds that we've got to make all these big changes in life, then that in and of itself holds us back, right? That'll make us freeze and not want to move forward. And a lot of people have this idea of, what if I'm not good at it? What if I'm going to fail? So there's all this internal dialogue. And so all of those things create a barrier to making this change. So I think I just missed, Rory said, I'm just going to jump into that. And Rory said, instead of thinking change may be the worst case, what if we change our mindset into, what if change could be the best possible outcome? And, as everyone here has said, I think change is always the best. I think change is always the best. It's not the easiest. But if we make small incremental changes, like people who are like, oh my God, I got to lose 50 pounds. Well, when you think about, like, I got to lose 50 pounds, like, what are all the things that come along with it? Like, how much hard work that is going to be, and all the steps that I have to take, and what are you going to give up, instead of, maybe I'm just going to create one, maybe I'm going to, take away one less unhealthy eating, some food. So I don't know, I'm just kind of like going off, but that's why I think change is hard, because we put all this pressure on ourselves, and it's all these big things that we have to do instead of breaking it down into the small.
Yeah. I wanted to, I'm sorry, go ahead, Tracy.
Okay. I was just going to say, the word comfort, when you're comfortable, who wants to leave comfort? So it's like, if you're comfortable here, like, okay, this is great. Why should I leave this? This is soothing. But then, again, we've just got to grow. Go ahead, Cyrus.
Yeah, I was just going to share what Rich said. The human brain is literally designed to look for what is wrong and dangerous. It's a defense mechanism to keep us alive. And that's why we get to learn how to create an empowered mindset that welcomes the unknown. And that's why I love this show. When I read Rich's comment, I thought about a news story I read yesterday. Martha White, who was part of the big boycott in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, back in the early 1900s, she died this week at 99. And what she's known for is she got on a bus for a seat that it said white only. But at the time that she was on the bus, they had already outlawed that the buses could be segregated. She sat in the seat. The bus driver told her to get up or he was going to call the police. Another black woman came and sat next to her, even though they were told they'd be arrested. When the police came, they were told, well, there's nothing we can do. The bus driver went on strike because they did not want black people sitting in that. And I thought about that with Rich's comment, because what if Martha had just said, I'll just go sit in the back? But she wouldn't do it. She was willing to be a part of that change, and it now created kind of where we are now. So I think it's a great example of how it can be scary, but it definitely helps us to get to a better place in life, not only for ourselves, but also for others.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Tasha says there are constant variables that we won't always know what to do with in order to get to the end result. Yeah, again, that fear of the unknown, of what's going to happen, what could happen. And you know what's interesting, you guys, that when I always look back at all the times that I've had change, like it's always worked out, right? Like I've always grown. I've always then met that person that I was supposed to, or get, to be connected then to a career move, or, this, moving across the country. I was then able to meet my fiance, and there were so many things that were scary, but, taking that leap to create change in our lives, that's like the only way that we grow.
Mm-hmm.
So.
And I think, to that point, and I think too, and I love the fact that the people are talking about mindset, because Rich mentioned it and Roy did as well, because that's really what it's about. I think, who says that change has to be a bad thing? I mean, who says that it has to be something that we can fear? And I think, and I love the fact, the way that you phrased it earlier, Tracy, that who knows, that the things that we want, as the saying goes, could be on the other side of that fear. So we might actually be keeping ourselves from the very thing that could make us not only the most happiest, but also really share our value and worth in a bigger way.
Oh, well, let me just share this real quick with you guys. I think I shared it with pretty much everybody on the panel here. But I'm writing a book, and there was a domain that I had purchased years ago. But someone decided, after I let it lapse, because I didn't finish my book and I let the domain drop. And so somebody purchased it, and if I want it, I have to pay more money. And so I last week started to buy the domain again, and I was like, oh, somebody took my domain. And at first I was upset. I'm like, what am I going to do now? But, they always give you other domains that you can purchase. If that's not it, then what about these? And the one that I found is the one that I love the most. I'm so excited. I'm so grateful that person had, made me change my direction to this. So, just grateful.
I think that's always possible. All that is waiting for us. And this idea of, they always say that fear and excitement come from the same thing. So what if we changed our mindset that the thing we're fearful about is the thing that we could be excited about, because there's a bigger opportunity. There's something bigger waiting for us. There's some big way to grow and expand and who we're going to meet,
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I think to that point, Sherry, I think if we can look at, not be attached to the way that we think things should happen, right? And if we could kind of not be attached to that, it's an exciting thing. It's like recently we're in the process of selling our family home in Hawaii, and we had a buyer. We didn't even list it. We had a buyer, and the thing fell through at the last minute. And a friend of mine said, yeah, and I think that's going to be in your best interest, you and your siblings. And I said, I think you're right. So if we can look at everything that doesn't happen the way we want it as, I wonder what's going to happen, that's going to be even better for me. I think that's the best way.
Yeah. The last comment I'll share, guys, Rory says, I always remind myself, I've always survived my worst fear or hardest change already. And that is the thing. So it really shows us what is possible. And, as I'm thinking about our show today, guys, it reminds me of an announcement that we wanted to share this week. And it's interesting that Patrice kind of started the show the way that she did, talking about ourselves and what we appreciate about each other, because we want all of you guys, our fifth co-hosts, as we like to call you guys, to make sure you guys tune in next week. We're going to share something very special about this season that we're in with Heart to Heart. So we don't want you to miss it. So make sure you guys tune in to us next week to make sure that you get the big announcement and you can be part of the continued Love Fest. We look forward to having you. Sherry?
Yes, Cyrus, thank you so much. And so as a reminder, please, we invite you to go ahead and let someone today know how you feel about them. And at the same time, if you are faced right now with a challenge, with something that you're fearful of, some sort of change, we want to invite you to, maybe make friends with that fear. Maybe look at that fear in a new way. maybe trust and have faith that what has arrived for you, this invitation for you, is a bigger one for you to fly with. So if there's something that you want us to discuss on the show, please submit your question to the link that is in the chat that Tracy dropped, and that way your question might be featured in the vault. We hope that you will tune in next week, as Cyrus mentioned, to another episode of Heart to Heart. Don't forget to take care of your heart and one another's. Thank you all so much for being here, and we'll see you next week.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Thank you.